So we've got our boy Mr. Kim just strolling through this creepy, empty park at night, looking like he stepped straight out of a period drama with that fancy hat. Suddenly, some random punk calls out to him, and you can tell right away this guy is looking for nothing but trouble. This old geezer is acting all tough, trying to bait Mr. Kim into a wrestling match like he's some kind of underground fight club boss. The guy's clearly had a few too many, slurring his words and waving around a bunch of coins like he's actually got something worth betting. Mr. Kim is just standing there, looking totally unbothered, like he's dealing with a toddler instead of a grown man trying to start a fight. The old dude is getting all hyped up, flashing those creepy teeth and acting like he's about to pull off the fight of the century. He lunges at Mr. Kim, talking big about how he's gonna wreck him, but honestly, he looks like he's about to trip over his own feet. Mr. Kim is just over it, barely even breaking a sweat while this guy tries to get in his face. Instead of throwing hands, our boy reaches into his suit and pulls out this glowing yellow talisman, straight up mystical stuff, like something out of a classic exorcism flick. He slaps that paper right onto the guy's forehead, and just like that, the old punk is frozen in his tracks, looking absolutely shook. That talisman is glowing like crazy, and you can tell our boy is about to drop the hammer on this guy. Suddenly, the old geezer starts hulking out, turning into this massive, blue-skinned beast that looks like it crawled straight out of a nightmare. The big guy is totally confused, clutching his head and wondering why his body is going through this wild transformation. Mr. Kim just tips his hat, looking cool as a cucumber while he prepares to deal with this supernatural mess. He calls the guy out for being a public nuisance, making it clear that messing with random pedestrians is a huge no-go in his book. The beast realizes he's messed with the wrong crowd, finally recognizing that badge as belonging to the Moonlight Squad. Out of nowhere, another dude drops in from the shadows, perched on a streetlight like he's Batman or something. This new guy is already pulling out the paperwork, citing the beast for public disturbance and breaking the law while hammered. He's not playing around, hitting the guy with a formal citation for that unauthorized transformation before he even hits the ground. Meet Lee Dongman from the Combat Division, and he's here to collect a hefty 50,000 yang fine for all this trouble. The beast is literally begging for a break, but our boys are having absolutely none of it. Mr. Kim is totally over the drama and just tells his partner to slap the cuffs on this guy. They're shoving the blue monster into the car like he's a rowdy drunk getting tossed out of a bar. The car speeds off into the night, heading toward the city skyline like something straight out of a sci-fi flick. We get a sick view of the city, and honestly this place looks like a total neon-soaked fever dream. It's 2026 in Hanyang, and this place is basically a massive playground where humans and yokai just vibe together. But you know how it goes, where there's a massive city, there's gotta be some serious rules to keep the chaos in check. It's all about that balance, like a cosmic game of yin and yang keeping the peace between the two worlds. And when things get messy, this elite squad steps out of the shadows to make sure everyone stays in line. They finally pull up to the house, and the beast's kid runs out to greet him, making this whole situation way more awkward than it already was. The big blue guy is back to his normal self, just playing around and tickling his kid like a total softie. Mr. Kim is being the ultimate professional, keeping it polite while the lady of the house thanks them for not making a scene. Our boy gives a quick wave, telling her it's all good and that they're heading out to let the family get back to their night. The whole family is waving goodbye to the officers, and honestly, it's kind of wholesome seeing a monster just chilling with his wife and kid. The Moonlight Squad's ride peels out of the driveway, leaving the house behind as they head back into the neon glow of the city. Mr. Kim is just leaning back in the passenger seat, talking about how these mixed-species families are becoming the new normal thanks to the big bosses in charge. He's getting a bit philosophical, saying that if the Goblin King or the Human King weren't holding things down, this whole peace treaty would have crumbled ages ago. Lee Dongman is driving, looking serious as he mentions that even with all that power, the peace they've got is still super fragile. Lee Dongman keeps talking, saying that things have been way too quiet lately and that he's actually enjoying the calm for once. Mr. Kim immediately loses his mind and tackles the guy, because everyone knows saying things are calm is the ultimate jinx that's about to bring the apocalypse to their doorstep. Our guy Kim is literally shaking, realizing he just cursed them by saying things were quiet. And boom, the emergency device starts screaming, proving that the universe has a sick sense of humor. It's a full-blown crisis at Tuxium Resort, and the alert is hitting their device like a frantic text from an ex. The disaster level is officially marked as special grade, which is basically the run-for-your-life tier of yokai trouble. Mr. Kim's face says it all. He knows they're about to be in way over their heads with this one. The squad gets the order to mobilize, and we cut to a scene of pure chaos that looks like a deleted scene from Godzilla. It's a total living hell out there, with people running for their lives while this massive beast tears through the city. Mr. Kim steps up to take charge, looking like the ultimate boss as he demands a full report on the situation. Turns out it's an Imugi, a massive serpent monster that just snatched a whole subway train like it was a snack. Mr. Kim is dead serious, admitting he's barely ever seen a special grade threat in his entire career, so you know things are about to get real. This thing is a special grade yokai, and let me tell you, it's basically a walking natural disaster that could level the whole city if it wanted to. It's a massive, terrifying beast that looks like it's ready to tear everything apart, and honestly, it's giving me major Godzilla vibes. Our boys are standing there looking at this nightmare, and they're clearly wondering if they should just wait for backup or jump into the fire. One of the squad members is trying to stay calm, telling them that some negotiation expert is already out there trying to talk the monster down. They're actually trying to communicate with this giant red serpent, which sounds like the worst idea ever considering it's currently munching on a train. Some guy is literally standing there with a megaphone, reading legal codes to a giant monster like it's gonna stop and file a grievance. Mr. Kim is just staring at this absurdity, completely losing his mind because he knows that reading the law to a starving beast is just straight-up insanity. The monster isn't listening to a word of that legal jargon, and you can see the realization hitting the squad that this is all just useless noise. The Imugi finally snaps, smashing through the bridge with a deafening roar that makes it clear negotiations are officially closed. The beast lets out a blood-curdling scream, and it's go time. The situation has officially gone from bad to absolutely catastrophic. Things are getting absolutely wild, and this blonde yokai cutie is looking totally terrified as the chaos unfolds around her. Our boy is trying to keep everyone calm, but the situation is spiraling out of control with that massive serpent causing pure mayhem. He's dropping the legal hammer, reminding everyone that the rules are crystal clear when a Moonlight Squad member is in the line of fire. The gloves are off, and our guy is ready to throw down with that giant Imugi, looking like he's about to go full-on action hero. Mr. Kim is done playing nice, officially giving the green light to take that monster down for good. The rest of the squad is freaking out, wondering how they're supposed to handle a beast that big without getting turned into paste. Mr. Kim just smirks, basically saying if you want to beat a monster, you've gotta be a little bit crazier than the monster itself. He gives the signal, and Lee Dongmin launches himself into the air like he's got some kind of super jump ability. It's a total spectacle as Dongmin literally rides the wind, zipping toward that massive serpent like he's straight out of a high-octane anime. Mr. Kim tells the others to chill out, fully confident that his partner is about to show that giant snake who's boss. Our boy is diving headfirst into the action, hat flying off as he locks eyes with that massive, scaly nightmare. He's pulling out a heavy-duty meat cleaver, and you can tell he's about to turn the serpent into sushi. The guy's face is completely twisted into this manic, predatory grin, showing off fangs that definitely weren't there a second ago. Turns out this dude used to be a butcher back in the day, which explains why he's so comfortable swinging that giant blade around like a total psycho. He's fully locked into a berserker state now, eyes glowing red as he screams about taking the monster apart piece by piece. His partner is watching from the sidelines, looking a bit stressed while explaining that this is just what happens when the guy gets the urge to start chopping. He's literally riding the wind, moving with insane speed as he winds up for a strike that's gonna leave a mark. The guy is hacking through the Imugi's hide like it's nothing, sending chunks of monster flying everywhere in a shower of gore. The serpent is letting out a deafening screech as our guy carves through its body, showing zero mercy to the giant beast. He's midair, dual-wielding those cleavers and looking like an absolute legend as he prepares to finish the job on this massive red snake. Our boy Dongmin is absolutely locked in, eyes glowing red as he stares down the beast with a cold, final wish for its next life. He's moving with pure, lethal intent, swinging those blades like he's trying to carve his name into history. But as he slices into the Imugi, something feels seriously wrong. The texture isn't right, and it's leaking this weird, glowing green sludge. The massive serpent is getting absolutely shredded, collapsing into a heap of gore right in front of our guy. Mr. Kim just floats down, looking totally unbothered while he surveys the carnage, clearly impressed but still keeping his cool. Dongmin is standing there, still in his berserker mode, looking like he's trying to shake off the adrenaline of the fight. Mr. Kim doesn't miss a beat, teasing his partner about his split personality and how creepy that whole transformation looks. Dongmin tries to brush it off, but he's clearly unsettled by the weird vibe coming off the remains of the monster. He explains to Mr. Kim that cutting into the creature felt like slicing through dead, hollow flesh rather than a living, breathing thing. Mr. Kim has to agree, because even though the thing was moving just a second ago, the whole situation is starting to feel like a massive, orchestrated setup. Mr. Kim is keeping his cool, telling the team to just let the forensics crew handle the mess while they keep moving. He's looking sharp as ever, holding his lantern and scanning the dark, eerie surroundings for whatever's lurking next. The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife, as the team realizes that rhythmic vibration is strictly for national-level disasters. Mr. Kim stares down at the device, his expression shifting as he realizes the Hwamori signal is officially active. The city is getting absolutely hammered with notifications about special-grade disasters popping up all over the place. People are glued to their phones in a cafe, probably realizing their night out just turned into a total nightmare. A massive digital billboard lights up the skyline, broadcasting the terrifying news that the city is in a state of national emergency. Suddenly, a massive glowing blue serpent emerges from the water, looking like something straight out of a high-budget horror flick. It's not just one, but a whole swarm of these red-eyed monsters rising up, making the situation go from bad to absolutely hopeless. Our boys are standing on a rooftop, looking out at the chaos as the entire city gets swallowed by this massive, multi-headed serpent invasion. The squad is looking down from the rooftop, and honestly, they look like a bunch of badasses ready to start a war. They're staring down at the chaos with those glowing red eyes, basically telling the world that the party is just getting started. Then they drop the bombshell that the era of humans is officially over, which is a massive yikes for everyone involved. The city is getting absolutely wrecked, and it's like watching a disaster movie where the monster is winning by a landslide. People are running for their lives as this giant, terrifying beast looms over them like a nightmare come to life. The streets are a total war zone with cars on fire and everyone just trying to survive the madness. Even the yokai are getting in on the action, lurking in the shadows and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The alerts are going crazy, confirming that Seoul is officially under a special grade disaster and things are looking grim. Out of nowhere, this weird, one-eyed umbrella creature shows up, looking like a creepy prop from a haunted house. And just to make it even more heartbreaking, there's this poor little kid crying in the middle of the apocalypse looking for his mom. The Kasuobe creeps up on the crying kid, trying to play the role of a comforting guardian in the middle of this absolute dumpster fire. The kid is still sobbing about finding his mom, and the yokai stares back with that giant, unblinking eye, looking like it's seen way too much. Suddenly, the umbrella monster opens its massive, toothy maw, and honestly, it's looking less like a friend and more like a total nightmare. But before things get even weirder, our boy Lee Dongmin swoops in like a blur, ready to turn that umbrella into kindling with his blade. With one clean, brutal strike, he hacks the creature into pieces, leaving nothing but green slime and straw scattered across the pavement. The kid's mom finally rushes over to scoop him up, and you can tell she's absolutely terrified by the carnage our guy just left behind. Mr. Kim walks over, looking cool as ever, and checks in on Dongmin to see if he's still in one piece after that berserker outburst. Dongmin plays it off like it's nothing, but Mr. Kim isn't having it, calling him out for trashing his government-issued uniform like a total amateur. Mr. Kim sighs, looking at the chaos around them and lamenting that the whole country is basically circling the drain at this point. He nudges a piece of the dead yokai with his shoe, wondering why these things went from being total sweethearts to bloodthirsty monsters overnight. Just when things couldn't get any worse, this massive, ugly toad monster pops up out of nowhere to terrorize the streets. The thing is straight-up nightmare fuel, lunging at people with a tongue that looks like it's ready to drag them into the abyss. Our boys are standing there, totally exhausted, looking like they've been through the ringer after pulling an all-nighter fighting off the chaos. Without missing a beat, they dive back into the fray, ready to take down this giant toad before it causes any more property damage. We cut to the Moonlight Squad headquarters, which is looking surprisingly peaceful compared to the absolute dumpster fire happening outside. Meanwhile, the civil service center is packed to the gills with angry yokai, all screaming and shoving to get their complaints filed. Poor girl's in tears, clutching her severed tail like she's holding onto the last shred of her dignity in this madness. Everyone's losing their minds, shouting about their crushed houses, and demanding the squad do something about the giant centipedes tearing up the neighborhood. Mr. Kim is completely checked out, looking like he's about to pass out from pure stress while trying to manage the endless line of angry customers. He's basically running on fumes, drooling and barely holding it together as he deals with the fallout of the great yokai rampage. Mr. Kim is sitting there looking absolutely done with life, staring at some paperwork while a guy vents about how humans and yokai are just built different. We get a quick flashback to the chaos, showing that big blue wrestler guy losing his mind and screaming for help in the middle of the station. It's a harsh reality check that when these powerful entities snap, the collateral damage is basically a death sentence for anyone nearby. We see a quick cut to a tactical boot hitting the ground, showing that the Moonlight Squad doesn't waste a single second when things go south. Mr. Kim is moving with surgical precision, dropping the hammer on that blue beast before it can cause any more trouble. The monster is left reeling, looking totally shocked that he just got shut down by the law in such a brutal fashion. The narrative hits us with the cold, hard truth. The Moonlight Squad is the only thing standing between the city and total anarchy. Back in the present, Mr. Kim is still holding court, telling the rowdy crowd to keep it moving and stay in line like they're at a DMV. The blue guy is looking up at Mr. Kim like he's some kind of god, totally awestruck by how easily the squad handled that entire mess. Meanwhile, Lee Dongmin is back at his desk, looking stressed out of his mind while playing Minesweeper, realizing the situation is way more of a headache than he thought. Mr. Kim is absolutely losing his cool, smacking his partner on the head for slacking off instead of digging into the casualty reports. Our boy is looking totally frazzled, clutching his head and trying to defend his little break like he didn't just get caught red-handed. Mr. Kim isn't buying any of it, forcing the guy to get back to the grind and pull up the actual data on the screen. They pull up a news article that's screaming about a massive yokai rampage, but the casualty count is suspiciously low, only 10 people. Mr. Kim is staring at the screen with those sharp eyes, realizing that something about these numbers is seriously fishy. He's breaking it down, noting that a single special grade threat should have leveled the place, so why are the death tolls so tiny? He turns back to his partner, demanding to know if he even grabbed the right intel, clearly doubting the guy's competence. The tension is peaking, and Mr. Kim is literally putting the guy in a headlock, ready to snap if he doesn't get some real answers. Suddenly, the big wrestler guy steps up, looking like he's ready to drop everything and head out on a new mission. The squad piles into their ride and peels out, heading straight for Namsan Tonkatsu Street to see what kind of mess is waiting for them. The squad pulls up to Namsan King Tonkatsu, and our guy is already questioning why they're stopping for a snack when the city is literally burning down. Mr. Kim shuts that talk down real quick, telling his partner to pipe down and just follow his lead instead of acting like a loose cannon. Lee Dongmin is looking at his boss like he's lost his mind, wondering if this is actually the guy's first time grabbing a bite at a tonkatsu joint. They walk into the restaurant and it's business as usual, with customers just chilling and eating while the world outside is in total chaos. A friendly chef greets them with a smile, acting like everything is perfectly normal while he offers to show them to their seats. Mr. Kim hits the guy with the weirdest order ever, asking for 3 hot iced mint pineapple lattes like he's trying to troll the kitchen. Dongmin is internally screaming, thinking that the chef is probably questioning his life choices after hearing that bizarre request. The chef keeps that customer service smile plastered on his face, gesturing for the squad to follow him deeper into the building. They head into the back, walking past the kitchen equipment like they're about to uncover some dark secret hidden behind the menu. The chef leads them to a mysterious door, telling them to head inside, and you just know they're about to walk into something way worse than a bad lunch. The squad steps into this massive, eerie hallway that looks like it belongs in a royal palace rather than a restaurant. Our boys are looking around totally confused, wondering how a simple tonkatsu shop has a secret dimension hidden in the back. Mr. Kim is just as baffled, noting that he's been a regular here for ages and never had a clue this place existed. Dongmin senses something super powerful and refined up ahead, and he's starting to get a bad feeling about this. The chef finally leads them to these giant, fancy wooden doors that look like they're guarding a boss fight. The chef bows out, basically saying his job is done and he wants absolutely no part of whatever is waiting on the other side. Mr. Kim tells his guys to head inside, but he's staying back to hold down the fort outside. Dongmin is clearly stressing out, wondering if his boss is just gonna ditch them to grab a snack while they face the music. Mr. Kim pushes them forward, telling them to stop acting like babies and get through those doors already. They finally slide the doors open, and man, the vibes are intense. There's someone sitting at a table waiting for them like a final boss. Our boy steps into the pitch-black room, squinting his eyes and calling out to see if anyone's actually home. Suddenly, the air gets heavy, and some mysterious voice calls him out for being way too disrespectful. The pressure in the room spikes, and this massive purple spectral skull manifests behind a guy who looks like he's ready to end our boy's whole career. The dude introduces himself as Park Mun-soo, and he's got that cold, predatory stare that tells you he's not here to mess around. Our guy realizes he's staring down a legend, one of the 10 longevity and a legendary Amhingyeasa, and he's starting to sweat bullets. He's completely shook, realizing that stumbling into this hidden chamber was a massive mistake and that he's walked straight into a death trap. Before he can even process the danger, a hand reaches out from the shadows and grabs him by the neck. In a flash, he's slammed face first into the floor, and he's left wondering what the hell just hit him. He's pinned to the ground, looking up in total confusion, while the guy keeps him firmly planted on the wood. Then the guy lets out a terrifying, fanged roar, shouting out to the king himself, and it's clear our boy is in way over his head. Our boy is literally bowing for his life, realizing he's just walked into the presence of the big boss himself. He's sweating buckets, looking up with wide eyes as the reality of the situation finally hits him like a freight train. The king doesn't even flinch, just calmly setting down his cutlery while the tension in the room reaches a breaking point. We finally get a good look at the 34th king of Joseon, Yiguang, and he looks like a total powerhouse sitting there in his royal robes. The king starts reading off a file like he's a HR manager from hell, confirming he knows exactly who our guy is. He starts roasting our boy's resume, pointing out his fancy background and top-tier training like it's all just a waste of potential. The king leans in with those cold, piercing eyes, basically asking if he's hiding some dark secret that's keeping him stuck in this dead-end job. He calls out the pain in our guy's past, making it clear that he knows exactly what makes him tick. He brings up Lee Dongman's history as a butcher, acknowledging his crazy blade skills while still looking down on his humble origins. Our boy is just sitting there, completely stunned and trying to process the fact that the king knows every single skeleton in his closet. The king is basically looking at our boy like he's a piece of wasted potential, holding his file like it's a total disappointment. Our guys are face down on the floor, acting all humble and grateful just to be in the presence of royalty. The king isn't buying their act for a second, dismissing their polite talk as nothing but empty noise. He starts pacing around, dropping hints about giving them a much bigger stage to show off what they can really do. He's standing tall and looking like a total final boss, basically daring them to step up and take the offer. Our boy looks up, completely confused and wondering if he actually heard the king right. The king tells them to just sit down and eat, because it'd be pretty awkward to send them away on an empty stomach. They're looking at the food like it's a trap, clearly feeling the pressure of having to eat dinner with the most powerful guy in the country. The king starts cutting into his tonkatsu like he's dissecting a problem, asking them point blank about the chaos they saw yesterday. He takes a bite, looking them dead in the eye and demanding the honest truth about what they felt during that nightmare. Mr. Kim is deep in thought, trying to piece together why yesterday's chaos felt so weirdly off. The king cuts right to the chase, asking him exactly what he means by calling the whole disaster unnatural. Mr. Kim explains that the attacks were way too calculated, hitting major landmarks like a giant, coordinated smokescreen. The king suddenly lets out this wild, manic laugh that echoes through the room, sounding like a total madman. Our boys are just sitting there, completely stunned and wondering what the hell is so funny to the guy in charge. The king stops laughing and drops the hammer, telling Mr. Kim that he's definitely not your average Joe. Mr. Kim admits that the whole thing was a massive deception, but he's still trying to figure out who the target was. The king reveals the brutal truth. The Goblin King was taken out last night and the room goes dead silent. The news hits our guys like a ton of bricks, as they realize the peace treaty between humans and yokai is officially toast. The king stares them down with a terrifying look, warning them that the real nightmare is only just getting started. Our boy finally catches on, realizing the king didn't just invite them for a casual dinner to talk about the weather. The king is clearly impressed by how fast he's putting the pieces together, but he's got a specific job that needs doing. He drops the real bombshell. He's hunting for the Goblin King's relic, a legendary item that's basically the ultimate remote control for every yokai in existence. Just look at those 7 glowing eyes, each one representing a different human emotion. It's like something straight out of a high fantasy fever dream. The king explains that the official government is totally compromised by spies, so he needs our guys to act as his secret shadows to get the job done. Our guy is staring at the token the king just tossed his way, looking like he's just been handed a one-way ticket to a suicide mission. He's holding the Black Horse tablet, and you can tell by the look on his face that he knows there's no turning back from this. The king isn't playing around, handing over the tablet as official proof that they're now his personal hit squad operating outside the law. He sweetens the deal by promising them enough cash and land to live like kings, assuming they don't get themselves killed first. Our boy finally accepts the mission, realizing he's officially become a shadow agent for the crown, and honestly the stakes have never been higher. Our guy Kim Seondal isn't just looking for a payday, he's got his eyes on something way bigger than just cash. He's holding that Black Horse tablet like a total boss, while the thread of a blade hangs right over his neck. The king isn't having any of this backtalk, staring him down with those glowing red eyes and telling him to know his place. Kim doesn't even flinch, basically telling the king that the job is too sketchy and he needs some serious insurance to keep going. The king just laughs it off, acting like a total legend while he keeps munching on his tonkatsu, promising to grant whatever favor is needed. He leans in close, his glasses glinting as he challenges them to step up and join a hunt that'll decide the fate of the whole country. Kim doesn't miss a beat, reminding the king that he already promised to give him whatever he asked for. He's got that classic cocky grin on his face, letting the king know that setting the stage for chaos is his absolute specialty. The king turns his attention to Lee Dongman, putting the pressure on him to see if he's actually down for this suicide mission. Dongman just stabs his fork into the tonkatsu with a look of pure intensity, basically saying he's already all in. Our boy is just casually munching on some tonkatsu, totally unbothered while the king drops the life-changing news on him. The king is looking down at them like they're his new favorite toys, officially sealing the deal on their new gig. And just like that, they're officially appointed as the secret royal inspectors of Joseon, with the tablet to prove it. The lore dump hits us with the specs on that black horse tablet, confirming it's basically a government-issued, get-out-of-jail-free card with an unlimited expense account. We shift gears to a dark, gloomy night in Yuejangbu, where the vibe is instantly giving off major, something went horribly wrong energy. Two of those Moonlight Squad Tigerfolk guards show up on the scene, looking like they're ready to clock in for the shift from hell. They find a fallen comrade lying in the dirt, and man, it's a brutal sight that shows just how dangerous this new threat really is. The poor guy is absolutely shredded, and the way he's slumped over makes it clear he didn't stand a chance against whatever did this. One of the tiger guards pulls out a camera, looking totally rattled as he tries to document the carnage for the higher-ups. The scene ends on a super creepy note, showing a mangled, glowing mess wrapped around a telephone pole that looks like something straight out of a horror movie. These Tigerfolk guards are staring at the crime scene, realizing a centipede yokai is loose right in the middle of the city. The team leader, Choi Hochial, steps up with his glowing pipe, looking like he's ready to hunt down whoever did this. He's stone cold, demanding to know if there were any civilian casualties while he processes the gravity of the situation. The report comes back clean on the civilian front, but the mood is still heavy because the damage is already done. Choi's face says it all. He knows that even without civilian deaths, this is a massive red flag for the squad. It's a gut-wrenching moment as they confirm two of their own Suin officers were taken out in the line of duty. Choi tells his men to keep their heads held high, reminding them that dying for the squad is the most honorable way to go. Even with the pep talk, the guys are still on edge, knowing something about this whole setup just doesn't sit right. They identify the killer as a centipede yokai, a nasty piece of work that looks like it crawled straight out of a nightmare. They're examining the body, pointing out that the wounds don't even match the usual bite marks you'd expect from a beast like that. The squad is looking at the body, and it's super obvious that this wasn't some wild animal attack. That's a clean-cut stab wound from a blade. Choi Hochial steps in, pulling out his signature smoking pipe to get to the bottom of this mystery. He takes a deep drag, and the pipe starts glowing with that eerie, magical energy that's about to reveal the truth. Suddenly, the smoke erupts into these spectral, glowing serpents that start slithering across the crime scene like they're hunting for ghosts. The other guard is totally shook, realizing he's watching the legendary Choi Hochial in action. The smoke serpents converge on a specific spot, confirming that they've finally tracked down the source of the residue. The glowing mist swirls around, and those spectral snakes look like they're ready to strike at whatever is hiding in the dark. Choi crouches down, feeling that same nasty, cold killing intent he sensed earlier, and he knows they're closing in on the culprit. He clears away the debris, and his eyes go wide when he sees a clear, unmistakable human boot print stamped into the ground. The realization hits him like a truck, and he immediately barks an order to his partner to get headquarters on the line right now. Choi Hochial stares down at the boot print, realizing this isn't just some random yokai rampage but a calculated murder case. The scene shifts to the lush, green peaks of Bukhansan, specifically the Bibong Ridge, where the real mystery is about to unfold. Our boy is absolutely dying, sweating buckets while he hauls gear up the mountain, begging to know if they're finally close to the destination. Mr. Kim doesn't even break a sweat, smugly telling him that this grueling hike is just special training for his weak legs. Our guy isn't having any of that, firing back that his legs are perfectly fine, while he literally carries his boss on a wooden frame like a human taxi. Mr. Kim shuts him down, telling him to quit the chatter and stop spreading lies about his fitness level. The poor guy is still struggling under the weight, genuinely confused about why they're hauling fancy clothes up a mountain to meet some mystery person. Mr. Kim stays totally relaxed, reminding him to guard that bag with his life because it's the most important thing they're carrying. When asked if they're meeting a hermit, Mr. Kim just gives a cryptic, playful answer, keeping the destination a total secret. Finally reaching the spot, our guy collapses in a heap on the ground, completely wiped out, while Mr. Kim coolly announces they've arrived. Our boy is looking around like he's lost, totally confused, why they'd hike all this way just to stare at a random pile of rocks. Mr. Kim is just standing there by the water, acting like he's waiting for a bus, while our guy is still trying to figure out the point of this trip. Mr. Kim tells him to chill out and be patient, but he's clearly got something up his sleeve that he isn't sharing yet. Suddenly, he pulls out a snack, a chocolate bar, and you can tell he's about to use it for something way more important than just a sugar rush. He tosses the wrapper right into the water, and our guy is immediately calling him out for being a total slob in the middle of nature. Mr. Kim just shrugs it off, and before our guy can finish his lecture, the water starts bubbling like a boiling pot. The water explodes upward in a massive, swirling pillar, and out pops this kid who looks like he's having the time of his life. This little dude is floating in the air, absolutely losing his mind over how good that chocolate tastes, looking like a total sugar-addicted gremlin. Mr. Kim starts waving his fan like he's greeting an old pal, and our guy is just standing there, completely baffled that this kid is supposed to be some kind of big shot elder. He's looking at Mr. Kim like he's completely lost his marbles, wondering how on earth a literal elementary school kid could possibly be an elder. The Sansan is literally bouncing around like a hyperactive kid, showing off that he's way too young to be acting like a stuffy old mountain spirit. He's still munching on that chocolate, looking like he's having the time of his life while greeting Mr. Kim like an old buddy. The spirit calls out Mr. Kim, basically saying he knows exactly why they brought the snacks. They're looking for some serious intel. Mr. Kim just gives him that signature smirk, admitting that you really can't hide anything from a powerful spirit like this guy. He holds up the black horse tablet, showing the spirit that they're officially working under the king's orders now. The spirit gets a wicked grin on his face, clearly amused that these two have managed to get themselves tangled up in the king's shadow. He starts talking about the absolute madness that went down in Hanyang, bringing up the giant monsters that were tearing the city apart. Mr. Kim confirms he saw the whole disaster, and the spirit doesn't even blink, acting like he had a front row seat to the chaos. The spirit points toward the rocky cracks nearby, claiming he felt the whole mountain trembling from the sheer scale of the destruction. Our guy is totally losing his mind, wondering how this kid could possibly see what's happening all the way in the city, but the spirit just laughs it off like it's no big deal. Mr. Kim stares down the mountain spirit, basically telling him that if he was watching the chaos from the shadows, he knows exactly what went down. The spirit looks up, his expression turning dead serious as he confirms he witnessed the exact moment the Goblin King met his end. He locks eyes with them, confirming he saw the whole thing go south the second that great star fell from the sky. Mr. Kim doesn't waste a heartbeat, immediately pressing the kid to show them a vision of that exact moment. The spirit isn't having it though, holding up the scrap of his chocolate wrapper and acting like he's way too expensive to be bought with cheap snacks. Mr. Kim just smirks, pulling out the big guns to show the little guy he's not messing around with his bribes. He whips out a high-end, limited edition Olga padded jacket, and the spirit's eyes practically turn into dollar signs. The kid is absolutely losing his mind, pointing at the jacket like it's the holy grail and demanding they hand it over right now. He slips into the gear, spinning around and acting like a total fashionista, because honestly the fit is just perfect. Mr. Kim shakes his head at how materialistic this powerful spirit is, but at least they've got him on their side for now. The mountain spirit stands there with his cane, basically telling our guys that it's time to stop talking and start watching. He reaches out and grabs hold of them, and suddenly the world starts shifting around them like a glitched-out video game. With a flash of energy, the spirit drags them into a shared hallucination, and our boy is looking around like he's just been abducted by aliens. He's staring into the water, seeing his own reflection, but the vibe is totally off. He's realizing he's not in the real world anymore. Suddenly, they're dropped right into the middle of a burning hellscape, with bodies scattered everywhere and the sky glowing a terrifying blood red. Our boy is freaking out because he's literally floating in midair, completely losing his grip on reality while the spirit keeps them locked in this nightmare. The spirit hovers there, looking like a glowing blue ghost, and tells them point-blank that they're currently trapped inside his own memory. He tells them to keep their eyes peeled, because he's about to show them exactly how the tragedy of that day actually went down. The vision clears to reveal the massive, hulking figure of the Goblin King standing amidst the ruins, looking like a total final boss. Our boy is left speechless, staring down the legendary monster and realizing they're witnessing the exact moment the world started to fall apart. The Goblin King is looking absolutely menacing, standing there in the flames like he's ready to burn the whole world down. Our guy is watching this flashback in total shock, wondering how such a beast ended up backed into a corner. Then we see the crew responsible, a bunch of shady-looking punks surrounding the king, looking like they're ready for a brawl. Our boy realizes these are Western yokai, and he's trying to figure out who the mystery man in the center is. He's squinting at the screen, totally frustrated because some kind of magical smoke is blocking the guy's face. The mountain spirit confirms that he didn't want to hide it, but a powerful spell is keeping that identity under wraps. Even the spirit admits he's got no way to break through that kind of high-level magic. The mysterious figure just smirks, looking totally untouchable while the spell keeps his face hidden in that dark cloud. Suddenly, the whole squad lunges at the Goblin King, and it's absolute chaos as they close in for the kill. The king swings his staff, unleashing a massive wave of dark red energy that looks like it's about to wipe the floor with everyone. The Goblin King absolutely levels the entire battlefield with a single, earth-shattering swing of his staff. The red energy rips through the ground like a shockwave, turning the whole area into a total disaster zone. Our guy is watching this flashback in pure awe, realizing that the Goblin King is on a completely different level of power. We see the wolf folk warriors trying to dodge the carnage, moving with insane speed just to stay alive in this mess. One of the wolves tries to counter, but the sheer pressure of the king's aura is making it look like an uphill battle. The king grips his spiked club with both hands, ready to crush anyone foolish enough to get within striking distance. He winds up for another massive hit, and you can practically feel the air getting sucked out of the room. The wolf folk are forced to retreat, barely managing to keep their distance from that lethal spiked weapon. Suddenly, a mysterious, shadowy force slams into the king, catching him completely off guard with a brutal counterattack. The king gets sent flying backward, and it's clear that even a monster of his caliber is finally meeting his match. The Goblin King is looking absolutely unhinged, wrapped in bandages and radiating that nasty purple energy like he's about to go full-on boss mode. We get a close-up of those creepy, multicolored eyes inside his mask, and man, it's like staring into a kaleidoscope of pure, unfiltered chaos. He's winding up for a massive punch, his face twisted in a wild, desperate scream that shows he's completely lost his marbles. The impact is insane, a blinding flash of red energy tearing through the air as he lands a hit that would have leveled a skyscraper. He's lashing out with everything he's got, trying to crush his opponents with that glowing, magical pressure. The force of the blow sends someone flying into the dirt, leaving a crater that looks like a meteor just hit the ground. The dust settles, and we see the Goblin King surrounded by his enemies, looking like a cornered beast ready to take everyone down with him. One of the attackers is grinning like a total psycho, showing off those sharp fangs and glowing red eyes while he prepares for the final strike. The screen goes dark with a brutal splash of blood, signaling that the fight just hit a point of no return. Back in the present, Mr. Kim is looking totally stressed, asking the mountain spirit if they actually managed to snag that relic before everything went to hell. Even after getting absolutely wrecked, the Goblin King refuses to stay down, standing tall like a total tank. This mysterious punk in the floral jacket just walks up, looking like he's about to finish the job with that massive club. He leans in close to the king, almost like he's whispering a final goodbye before the curtain closes on this monster. A hand reaches out, and you can see the sheer scale of the power about to be unleashed right in the king's face. Suddenly, a blinding flash of light erupts, hitting the king with enough force to make even the toughest boss crumble. The king's mask gets shattered, and those 7 mystical eyes go flying everywhere like they're being ripped right out of his soul. It's a total light show, with the energy from the relic blasting outward and turning the whole battlefield into a glowing mess. The mountain spirit explains that the king made a desperate move, shattering his own soul so nobody could ever get their hands on his power. We finally see the king's unmasked face, and he looks completely hollowed out, like he's just a shell of the legend he used to be. The mystery guy in the jacket just stands there, his face still hidden by that annoying magical smoke, leaving us with more questions than answers. The flashback hits a fever pitch as the mystery attacker drives his staff right through the Goblin King, showing just how brutal this takedown really was. Suddenly, the vision snaps and our guys are back in the present, gasping for air like they just surfaced from a deep dive. Our boy is still totally reeling, struggling to wrap his head around the fact that only 5 people managed to take down a monster of that scale. Mr. Kim is looking grim, clearly realizing that if those relics end up in the wrong hands, the whole country is basically toast. The vision shows us the aftermath of that chaos, with the city looking like a total war zone. It's honestly giving off major end-of-the-world vibes. Mr. Kim is sweating, his face showing just how high the stakes are. He knows they have to stop whoever is behind this, no matter the cost. The mountain spirit just hangs there in the water, looking totally unbothered, while Mr. Kim demands to know where the next piece of the puzzle is hidden. Mr. Kim is pushing for answers, his eyes locked on the spirit, desperate to track down the closest relic before the bad guys get there first. The spirit gets a serious look on his face, finally dropping the info they need with a cold, direct stare. He reveals the location is the tiger's den, and he's got that creepy, knowing grin like he's sending them straight into the lion's mouth. Our boy is hitting the pavement hard, laser-focused on finding that tiger's den before the bad guys beat him to the punch. He's sprinting through the terrain with the mountain spirit hovering nearby, determined to get there no matter what it takes. We get a quick history lesson on the Tiger Suin, a race of absolute units who have been keeping their side of the peace treaty for a decade. But things have gone south, and we see a wounded Tigerfolk guard clutching his blade, clearly reeling from a betrayal he didn't see coming. He's absolutely losing it, screaming into the void about why they're being hunted despite playing by the rules for 10 years. 2 shadowy punks in hooded cloaks show up, looking totally bored and annoyed by the tiger's desperate pleas for answers. They're just standing there, mocking the poor guy's roar and acting like they're the ones calling all the shots. One of the hooded figures steps forward, pulling out a weapon and getting ready to finish the job while the tiger is already on the ropes. The tension is off the charts as the attacker looms over the tiger, his eyes glowing with a cold, predatory intent that's honestly chilling. He lets out a smug breath, looking totally satisfied with the carnage he's about to unleash, proving that this hunt is exactly what he wanted. These two creeps are literally sitting on top of their kill, acting like they own the place while dropping threats about how tigers don't belong in the city. We get a close-up of the brother and sister duo, and man, they look like a total nightmare with those glowing eyes and predatory vibes. The scene shifts to some mysterious guy walking through the dark, and he's clearly impressed by the carnage these two have been causing. He gives them a twisted little compliment, telling them to keep up the hunt like they're some kind of sick professional exterminators. He's basically promising them that they can keep tearing things apart until the entire nation of Joseon is nothing but ash and dust. Then we see a swarm of bats descending, and you just know things are about to get way worse for everyone involved. We cut to the Hyangwonjeong Pavilion in Hanyang, and it's a total change of pace from the bloody mess we just saw. The king is sitting there, looking like he's doing some kind of Zen gardening or meditation, totally unbothered by the chaos outside. Park Mun-soo shows up looking like he's just grabbed some iced coffees, but he's clearly there to drop some serious shade on our main guys. He's straight up questioning the king's judgment, calling our boy a total loose cannon who's going to cause more trouble than he's worth. The king and Park Mun-soo are just chilling by the water, watching the fish like they don't have the weight of the world on their shoulders. The king drops a heavy hypothetical, asking Mun-soo what he'd do if he had to watch his own ruler get shredded by a yokai. Mun-soo plays the loyal card, saying he'd obviously jump in to save the day, but the king isn't letting him off that easy. The king hits him with the real talk, asking what happens if saving him means letting the real threat slip through the cracks. He pushes the point even further, asking if Mun-soo would still be a hero if it meant the entire nation of Joseon went down in flames. Mun-soo is clearly feeling the pressure, looking like he's realizing that his upright moral code might be a liability in this game. The king acknowledges that Mun-soo is a stand-up guy, even comparing him to the sturdy pine tree from the 10 symbols of longevity. But then he pivots, pointing out that their enemies are absolute psychos who would burn down the city just to take out one target. We get a brutal flashback of that fiery destruction, reminding us that these villains have zero mercy and don't play by anyone's rules. The king wraps it up by saying that's exactly why he needs someone willing to get their hands dirty and crawl through the gutter to win. The king is basically laying out the job description for a total psycho, someone who doesn't care about rules and would shake hands with the devil to get the job done. He's looking for a wild card, someone who can fight fire with fire and handle the kind of chaos that would break a normal person. The king is dead serious, telling everyone in the room that what they really need right now is a mad dog to hunt down these threats. We cut to our boy Lee Dongmin, who's just pulled up to the Beastkin residential district, looking like he's about to step into a whole new world of trouble. He's staring at the entrance to Yeojongbu, and you can tell by the look on his face that he's feeling the weight of this massive investigation. He's standing there, totally overwhelmed, wondering how he's supposed to cover a place this huge all by himself. Mr. Kim pops up, telling him to chill out because he's got his own side mission to handle before they link back up. Dongmin is totally lost, admitting he's never even seen a tiger beastkin in his life, let alone knows how to talk to one. Mr. Kim just brushes it off, acting like these giant tiger folk are basically just big, misunderstood softies who'll give you snacks if you're nice. Dongmin is clearly not buying the big softy act, but Mr. Kim just smirks and tells him he'll figure it out once he's actually in the thick of it. Our boy is already ghosting the scene, leaving his captain behind in a literal whirlwind of mystery. Lee Dongmin is standing there in the middle of the street, stressing out because he knows he needs a major promotion to actually make a difference. He's deep in his own head, wondering if he's really cut out for this high-stakes life or if he's just spinning his wheels. The neighborhood is dead silent, and you can tell by the vibe that something is definitely lurking in the shadows. Suddenly, a massive tigerfolk dude drops down from a balcony, looking like he's ready to throw hands with whoever is trespassing on his turf. Dongmin tries to play it cool, calling out to the guy and hoping he's not about to get mauled for just asking a question. The tigerfolk turns around, and man, that look in his eyes is pure, unadulterated get off my lawn energy. Dongmin is totally caught off guard, staring at this giant beast like he's just realized he brought a knife to a tank fight. He tries to be polite, waving his hand and attempting to de-escalate, but the tiger just spits on the ground like he couldn't care less. Dongmin tries to drop his Moonlight Squad credentials, but the tiger slams the gate shut right in his face, effectively ending the conversation before it even started. Our boy is absolutely losing his mind, clutching his head and wondering how he's supposed to track down a legendary relic when he's stuck in this mess. Just as he's spiraling, a massive furry paw slams down right in front of him, and you can tell he's about to have a really bad day. He tries to play it cool, flashing his official Moonlight Squad ID like a total pro, hoping to talk his way out of a beatdown. The tigerfolk isn't buying any of it, staring him down with pure, unadulterated rage and calling him a straight-up murderer. Another tiger drops from the shadows, confirming the accusation and making it clear that our guy has just walked into a total death trap. Suddenly, he's surrounded by a whole pack of these massive tiger folk, and the vibe shifts from tense to straight-up nightmare fuel. Our guy is trying to keep a straight face, but you can see the sweat dripping down his forehead as he realizes he's outnumbered and outmatched. The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife, and the entire pack is closing in on him like they're ready to tear him apart. He catches a whiff of something metallic and nasty, realizing that the scent of blood in the air isn't human, it's the smell of a tiger folk kill. The tigers are absolutely livid, realizing that the blood on his gear belongs to their own kind, and they're ready to make him pay for it right here and now. Our boy is sweating bullets, trying to talk his way out of this by claiming he's just a simple butcher who uses knives for work. The tiger folk isn't buying a single word of that, and he immediately lunges at Dongmin with pure, unadulterated rage. That massive beast slams into him with the force of a freight train, sending our guy flying like he's nothing. Dongmin hits the ground hard, blood already trickling down his forehead, still desperately trying to get them to listen to reason. He tries to scramble back into a defensive stance, but he's clearly out of his depth against these absolute units. The blood is streaming down his face now, and he's starting to realize that his words aren't going to stop this beatdown. One of the tiger folk looks absolutely disgusted, his eyes glowing with a murderous intent that says he's done playing games. The air is thick with the sound of them chanting for his death, and Dongmin is barely holding on as the pressure mounts. He's scrambling across the pavement, trying to dodge the next strike while the tigers close in for the kill. The final blow lands with a sickening thud, and it looks like our boy is finally about to get crushed for good. The tiger folk leader lands a solid hit on our boy and immediately calls for his crew to drag him off for an execution. Dongmin is reeling from the blow, barely keeping his composure while the tiger looms over him with a smug, predatory grin. Our guy looks up, bloodied and battered, laughing off the danger like he's completely lost his mind in the heat of the moment. He grips his blade tight, his knuckles white, clearly deciding that if he's going down, he's taking some of these punks with him. With a roar of pure rage, Dongmin lunges forward, ready to unleash hell on the entire pack surrounding him. The tiger folk leader pauses, looking genuinely confused as he watches our boy charge in with that reckless, suicidal energy. Dongmin is panting, his face a mask of desperation as he tries to hold onto his humanity while his instincts scream at him to just start swinging. He stands his ground against the wall of fur and muscle, still trying to plead his case despite being moments away from a total beatdown. Suddenly, Choi Hochial steps into the frame, puffing on his glowing pipe and unleashing a massive wave of supernatural fog. The battlefield is instantly swallowed by that eerie, magical mist, leaving Dongmin totally stunned as he wonders where the save came from. The air fills with these spectral, glowing wolf heads that look like they're straight out of a high-budget fantasy flick. Our boy Dongmin is staring into the eyes of the beast, realizing this isn't just normal smoke, it's a supernatural trap. The mist starts snapping at him like a pack of wild dogs, and he's totally caught off guard by the sheer intensity of the attack. He's trying to swing his blade through the fog, but it's like trying to cut through water, it just doesn't do a damn thing. Dongmin is starting to panic, realizing that his usual brute force tactics are completely useless against this kind of magic. The spectral wolves are relentless, latching onto him and making it clear that he's in the worst matchup of his life. He's getting dragged down by the weight of the mist, struggling to keep his footing while the spirits swarm him from every angle. He tries to lash out at the source of the smoke, but he's already pinned down and completely at the mercy of the technique. Choi Hochial finally steps out of the shadows, looking like a total boss as he commands the mist to hold our guy in place. Dongmin is gasping for air, completely choked out by the magical fog and realizing he's totally outclassed by the team leader. Just when things were looking absolutely grim for our boy, Mr. Kim drops in from the sky like a total legend to call out the tiger folk for their aggressive welcome. He swoops down with that fan of his, moving with such grace that he makes the whole battlefield look like his personal stage. The tension instantly breaks as Mr. Kim starts bickering with the tiger, acting like they're just two old pals catching up after a long shift. The tiger folk is clearly taken aback, his aggressive stance faltering the second he realizes who he's actually dealing with. You can see the pure, unadulterated shock on the tiger's face as he realizes the guy in the suit isn't just some random human. Mr. Kim doesn't even give him a chance to recover, stepping right into his personal space with that signature smirk. Our boy Dongmin is standing there in the background, looking like he's having a total mental breakdown trying to process what the hell is happening. Suddenly, Mr. Kim just bear hugs the massive tiger, laughing his head off like they're long-lost brothers reuniting at a family barbecue. Dongmin is just staring at the scene, completely baffled and probably wondering if he's finally lost his mind from all the stress. The whole chaotic encounter leads them straight to the front door of Yongbin Jinsa Ribs, which is apparently the hottest spot in town for supernatural drama. Choi Hochial, the big boss of the Uejangbu Tiger Pack, clears the air by admitting he totally misjudged who our guys were. The tension finally breaks as they sit down for a massive feast, with Choi apologizing for the misunderstanding and trying to make it right with a mountain of ribs. Our boy Dongmin is still pretty salty about almost getting turned into Tiger Chow, but he's already busy stuffing his face because the food is just that good. Choi gets down to business, asking why they showed up on his turf without giving him a heads up first. Mr. Kim explains they're hunting for a specific relic, but he's more concerned about why the local beastkin were ready to jump Dongmin on sight. The mood turns dark as Choi reveals that someone has been systematically hunting his tribe in a string of brutal, untraceable murders. A grim flashback shows the silhouette of a fallen tiger, confirming that the investigation points directly to human killers. Dongmin is completely floored, struggling to process the idea that humans are out here playing serial killer against a race of apex predators. Mr. Kim puts the pieces together, realizing that the tigers aren't just being jerks, they're acting out of pure survival instinct because they're being targeted. Choi drops the final bombshell, admitting that the bad blood between tigers and humans goes way back, and they've never really been on good terms to begin with. Our boy is totally losing his mind, wondering how his stoic captain could possibly have any friends, let alone a tigerfolk. Turns out they go way back to their days at the Moonlight Squad training center, where they were basically brothers in arms. Mr. Kim admits he wasn't exactly a fan of this guy at first, especially since he was running with a shady mercenary group called the Crows. Our guy is completely clueless, asking what on earth the Crows are supposed to be. Mr. Kim explains that they're basically bottom-tier sellouts who would trade their own country for a quick buck. He describes them as total trash with zero loyalty, just mercenaries chasing profit wherever they can find it. Our boy is still reeling from the reveal, but he can't help but roast his captain for being just as trashy as the people he's talking about. Mr. Kim doesn't even blink, casually snatching the meat right off our boy's plate like he owns the place. While our guy is busy mourning the loss of his dinner, Mr. Kim keeps the conversation moving, asking if there are any real leads on the killers. The tigerfolk finally pulls out a scrap of black fabric, the only piece of evidence they managed to snag from the crime scene. Mr. Kim holds up that scrap of fabric, his eyes narrowing as he realizes the material is way more suspicious than it looks. He flips it over, and the second he sees that distinct, ominous pattern, the pieces start clicking into place. His expression goes ice cold because he knows exactly who leaves a calling card like that. It's the signature of the Crows. We get a quick flashback to those shadowy mercenaries in action, standing over their victims like they're just cleaning up trash. Mr. Kim confirms the intel is solid, telling the tigerfolk that this is all the proof they need to start hunting the hunters. He pulls out a magical talisman, ready to call in some backup that's definitely not going to play nice. With a massive burst of dark energy, he triggers a summon that shakes the whole room. Out of the smoke steps a molefolk dude rocking a leather jacket and shades, looking like he just walked off the set of a biker flick. This is the Tunnel Master, and he's clearly ready to start digging up some dirt on the bad guys.